is everybody doing? It's Renee Bird, and I'm here for another fantastic IG Live Who Am I talk. And this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and wherever you are in the world, I have an amazing lady. Her name is Tonya Kidd-Beggs, and she's a creative director and founder of Stories Parfums. Now, this absolute perfume line is absolutely gorgeous. I understand when I smelt it why it's called Stories, because it conjures up so much stories, so much thoughts. So thank you so much for joining me this evening, everybody. I'm not sure where everyone is in the world, but I'm really excited to introduce Tonya to this platform tonight. And I hope everyone enjoys our amazing talk. And she is fabulous in every sense of the word. So give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Just waiting for Instagram to do its magic. Any minute now. Should connect very soon. Nothing's happening, Instagram. Be nice. What I might do, actually, I might click off and then click on again. Sometimes it gets caught. So let's try again. Okay. Let's try again. So if you can request to join the live again for me, and hopefully this time it will connect. It can be a little bit slow. So much people are on Instagram at the moment. Let's see if I can find you, actually. I might be able to do it myself. Hold on. Let's try it. That's it. That's fine. So it said it's waiting. Hopefully any minute now.
Good evening.
Good evening, Tonya. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. It's so nice I see your face all the time. We've been speaking on, and to see you and speak to you, it's lovely. You've got a lovely voice. And how are you? And
congratulations to you. You are a finalist, I hear.
I know. I can't believe it.
That is amazing.
I'm in shock. It's just literally out of the blue. It's out of like 3,000 people in this season. I didn't expect anything like that to happen. So I'm so grateful.
Oh,
it's a blessing, isn't it?
So much. So it's such good news. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tonya. Thank you. And how are you? How are you doing? I know we're in the matrix, I call it. It's like, when is this all going to end, huh?
I know. So I'm actually based in Northern Ireland. So we have been a little bit different than the mainland UK. And even though we're all under the one country, it's a bit different because our restaurants have been shut for quite a while. Our retailers are still staying open at the moment, but I know all our stockists and that are closed over in London and other parts of the UK. It's just really difficult times, isn't it?
I know. It's who would have thought this year would have hit and then we'd be here. I was thinking about the other day in January, I was in Miami on South Beach having an amazing time. And then gorgeous. February, I know, it was gorgeous. And then I traveled quite a lot to the States and February, and then I was planning a trip to North Carolina in April, but clearly March, everything stopped. And it was like 7 months, wasn't it? It's just, I still can't believe it.
It is. It's difficult because I have 4 kids. And my youngest 2 are twin girls, and they're 13, well, just turned 14 actually. So they're in and out of school quite a bit, and then obviously if we have to isolate, we have to isolate at home, and everything goes to online schooling. So it's a very difficult time, I think, for everybody to try and adjust. We just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Sure, we don't. But you know,
all we can do is have hope. And
absolutely. And you know, we've actually been working extremely hard and we've been extremely busy. So we have our online in terms of work, which has been phenomenal, really, with what has been going on. We've had such an increase of sales, because everybody wants that feel-good factor, don't they? They want to feel good. They want to have something in their life that's going to bring them a little joy. So for us, being a fragrance brand, it's been great for us. So yeah, so in terms of business, I'm flat out really busy. In terms of home life, it's up and down because we just don't know, you know, where we're going to be tomorrow.
I know. And as I said, all we can do is have hope. But that's really good news to hear that your business is flourishing. And I've had the blessing to smell your perfume, and it's just, I sit there just sniffing my hands and rubbing. It's just, it takes you on a journey. And I'm very excited to have you on my platform, introducing you again. I've seen more people join in. This is Tonya Kidd-Beggs. She is the CEO and founder of Stories Parfums. And it's, you know, I'm always excited when I hear of a perfume owner, a perfume founder. Where did it all begin? What was your story? Was it perfumes before, or what triggered you to do this? It's amazing.
Yes. Okay, so it's a very fun, very, very peculiar story. I am mum, as I said to you, to 4 kids. I chose to be a stay-at-home mum, so I chose to bring my kids up and not work. And it was only about 5 years ago that I decided that I wanted to pursue a hobby for myself. And that hobby took me to the south of France, to Grasse, where I wanted to learn a little bit about perfumery. So I hadn't decided at this stage anything to do with launching a brand, but I always loved luxury beauty. Fragrance to me was always something that really connected me to my past. It connected me to a grandmother that I never had met before, but I used to play with her jewelry, and I used to spray her perfume. And I realized in later years that actually fragrance was always something really important to me. So I really wanted to learn, how do you create a fragrance? And the idea was that I would learn the ins and outs of perfumery, but then I would also be able to make my own bespoke fragrance for myself. So I went on the pursuit to the south of France, and I worked in a perfumery there, one of the oldest perfumeries in the world, and they welcomed me and said, yes, come and work with my perfumer, you know, and she'll teach you the ins and outs. Now I was in my sort of early to mid 40s at this stage, so it was just a hobby. I had not planned to create, to go into the business. But what unbeknown to me was the connection between fragrances and our memory. And I had had trauma in my life when I was 12. And I had gone through counselling in later years to take away the root of the trauma. And it successfully was removed. But to me, my memories prior to the trauma were completely lost. It had been overshadowed by the trauma and that dark period of my life. So I had no idea that by working with fragrances that this would connect me actually to my childhood memories prior to the trauma. So it was absolutely outstanding for me. And I created 2 fragrances in that time that I was there, which is our Stories #1 and #2. But I actually left the Grasse in the south of France with this passion to tell people about that, that one, that they need to tell their own story and that it's important to tell. 2 is that you have a connection between, it's scientifically proven, between our olfactory system, which is based here at the base of our brain. And in there it connects us to our sense of smell. It's the largest sense that connects us to our memories and our past. And because that was scientifically proven, which I had no idea, that is why that fragrance was able to connect me to my past and to my childhood. So I left Grasse in the south of France with this absolute passion to tell people, okay, if this can happen to me, if this can be healing and joyful and bring restoration, this can do it for you also. And as a woman that had gone through the type of trauma that I had gone through, I was passionate also to help young women, young adults, full stop, who find themselves in traumatic places, and then they find their lives spiraling out of control, just like myself. And I really had this passion to tell these young people, you have a voice and you have a story and you should use it. So mixed in the passion of the fragrance and my new passion of launching a brand, and telling people about, you know, using their own voice. That's how the name Stories came for the brand, and how I launched then the fragrance brand.
Wow, how powerful is that, Tonya?
Yeah.
So you're literally healing people with your fragrances. You're and awakening them. You're allowing them to dig deep into their spiritual, because the senses are so powerful. It's funny you say that. One of the most powerful things is when you smell or you hear. So music,
Yes.
I can create a memory, I can conjure up an experience, I can heal you, make you feel good, make you feel sad, make you feel happy. But a sense, I remember smelling perfumes, and it brings you back to a point. You're like, how did I get there? Just like that. Literally a glimpse,
Absolutely.
blink of an
Absolutely.
eye.
Yeah, and it does, and that's what happened with my grandmother as well, because I hadn't actually met her, and she was a very influential woman in Northern Ireland, where I'm from. And in the days where women didn't work, she was a hotelier, and she had a fantastic business with a few different hotels. And she broke a lot of glass ceilings for women in her time. And I always really felt connected with her, but I said I had sadly had never met her. But it was only when later years that I realized I actually felt I did know her because of her perfume, and I knew her story, and I knew what she had done for women and her day. So I totally get that. You're automatically taken right back into a memory just in an instant with something that you smell.
That's powerful. I was thinking,
Yeah.
like, my mum has a smell. Don't you know, your mummies have a smell, don't they? You go, oh, there's mummy. My mum's like, so her notes are rose. She loves
Yeah.
rose. So I'm
Uh-huh.
always searching for rose things for her. But you're right, you know, in this season, I've made sure, even now I'm wearing a perfume, which is your perfume, by the way. I have to feel good throughout my day. I'm not, just because we're not going out doesn't mean you don't dress up, doesn't mean you don't do all the things that you was doing before. So because it helps with your mental health, it helps you feel better,
It
helps you
does.
feel alive.
It does. And even when we went into that first lockdown, I still spray perfume. You know, even if I'm in the office on my own, I still spray perfume. I do it. I've always done it. It's always been something. And I think it's a little bit like a lipstick or a little bit of makeup. We just love something that makes us feel really good. And I think for
Yeah,
perfume and for fragrance, that has a complete instant. You know, you can lift the same perfume, and it could be a hug in the bottle, but you could lift that perfume a couple of hours later, and it would actually be, you know, it would make you feel very, you know, very confident, and, you know, ready to go out
yeah,
for the evening or whatever it may be.
yeah,
So I think it just has, it's a gift, I feel. And I feel, for me, for the brand, it's a gift that I have created that I can share and teach other people, you know, about. And it's all that. It's full of emotion, and it's full, for me, it was healing. It
beautiful,
connected me with my
beautiful.
emotions. But also, fragrance has that power to connect you to your future as well. So it's not only just about your past. You know, we buy fragrances for our weddings or for a special occasion, and we'll always remember that smell for the rest of our lives.
Yeah,
And I think it's even lovely to gift people also, because they're always going to remember who gave you that gift. It's like, for me, it's as if we're giving a gift to somebody to start to write their own story. You know, that it's a beginning chapter in their story with a new fragrance. So it is this
I love
all
that.
round powerful, you know, thing, really.
It is. You're creating chapters in people's lives through your fragrance and through
Yeah,
your experience. You're healing them for them to have their experience and their journey and their chapter. And whatever this fragrance is going to do, it's going to change them and add to their
absolutely.
life. It's
Yeah,
really powerful.
yeah.
So, so you've got, I love both of them, but they're very different. Different, as I said, a different story, a different journey. How did you pick the notes for the different fragrances? I always wonder what
Yeah.
goes into that.
So I'm not a perfumer, and I've never claimed to be. I work with a perfumer, but
Yeah.
the perfumer that I work with is a wonderful woman. She's Russian, and she lives in France. And
Yeah.
I work with her, and I've continued to work with her because she lets me work completely 100% on my own. So I pick every note, I pick everything that goes into it. She doesn't guide me in any way, but how I see it is that she brings the beautiful end chapter to it. So she will bring
Mm.
everything together and balance it beautifully. I don't have that knowledge to do that. So I never trained as a perfumer, but I have been self-taught, and I actually then would spend time with my perfumer also then to bring the balance into what I create. So when I went to the south of France, what's very interesting is that you sit at a perfumer's organ. So it's like a proper organ. And every note, there was about 200 notes all sitting, and names are all turned away. So you don't know what you're smelling.
Oh.
You don't know, and you have to actually describe what you smell. So I don't know whether you've ever tried that before. So you try to smell something and guess what's in it? It's very, very difficult. But what you're doing is trying to emotionally connect with what you're smelling. So I had gone with the idea I didn't like vanilla. And in my mind, I thought vanilla was an awful scent. And I had said to my perfumer, I don't like vanilla. And she didn't say anything. And we had gone through all 200 notes. And I got to this one note and she said, do you like? And I was like, yes, I do. I love it. And she says, well, what is it? And I honestly didn't know. And she turned the bottle around and she goes, it's vanilla. So
that's so funny.
Because our minds already have a preconception of what we're smelling, we can actually choose a scent and be put off by a scent by what we think it smells like. So one of the things that I actually did, and I'll go into that shortly, is I numbered my bottles to remove that preconception of notes. So in every fragrance that I've created so far, there are 20 different notes. So we start off as 200 bottles, and I just keep using my nose and my intuition, and I bring them down until I have created the scent that I want. But let me tell you a little bit about the story about number one. When I had gone through the trauma when I was 12, my life spiraled out of control for many years because I hadn't dealt with the trauma. So in my 20s, I took on the hard task of really digging deep and getting help and removing the trauma. And successfully I did. And wonderful. My sense of smell completely changed after that. And I remember, now this is like over 20 years ago, I remember being out walking and I had this smell used to envelope me, and I could never describe what it was, but it was like a divine smell. It came from nowhere and it was just beautiful. And I remember saying then, if I ever make a scent, I'm going to try and bottle that. But I never knew what I was smelling. I didn't know what it was. So it wasn't until I was in the perfumery that I knew in the back of my mind I wanted to try and recreate that scent. But I had to do it completely by my own intuition and my own nose. And that, in the end form, is exactly what I smelled of when I came out of that dark place. So to me, number one represents hope, coming from that dark place into the light place, and obviously, hope for my future. And, so it was absolutely, beautiful. That I love that number one. It's very, very special to me. But number two, I went on to make number two, and that's what would give me the restoration of my memories as a child. So my father and my grandfather used to smoke a pipe, and it was very significant smell. And I remember used to play in my grandfather's garden. This was prior to the trauma. And he used to have a rose garden. Like, I mean, he loved his garden. He was very proud. He had a beautiful river at the bottom of his garden, and in that river, the smell of the wet leaves and the woody smell. And as soon as I created number two, it actually was in complete form. I just sat back and I went, wow, that is my grandfather's garden. That reminds me of being watched over by my grandfather and my father at a time, especially when the trauma came at a later stage, when I felt unloved and uncovered and unprotected, that actually this fragrance was able to give me back that lovely memory.
Wow. So hope.
Yeah.
You had hope that you would heal, and you did, and you're standing, and your business is more powerful than you can imagine because of your story. You created something that came from within. I'm a strong believer that things that are actually authentic, you hear of the businesses all around the world, but there's something when you have the connection to your business and it's from you, it
Yeah.
then just blossoms.
Yeah.
So the hope that you had and you came through that is why you was able to transcend that into a fragrance. And then the next thing was where you had that comfort.
Yes.
How amazing is that?
Yeah,
It's really
it was.
special.
Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous, and you know, it took me a long time to find my voice because I felt quite sort of silenced as a woman for many, many years. And you know, I actually, when I started the brand, I arrived back here in Northern Ireland, and I was like, my goodness, what do I do? I want to reach people. I want to tell them my story. I want them to love fragrance and learn about fragrances in a different way. And I just
Yes.
went to London. I took my little bottles of fragrance with me, and I started talking to some different PR companies and, you know, people. And honestly, it was absolutely, and it was lovely because I coming from a very small country to go to somewhere like London and have the door opened and people really believe in your fragrances and believe in your story. And I actually had hid away from the story of the true story behind the fragrances. And people kept saying to me, oh no, you've got to share it. That's, you know, really you, it's true from your heart and it's really important. So that's when I decided, you know, I have a story and I do want to tell it. And that's where it was born then. And I just really feel very passionately. I see fragrance as an art. So I use it to express myself, very similar to a musician like yourself or to, you know, to an artist. Everything is just very, very unique and very, very special to the person who's wearing it or the person who's looking at it or listening to. I think it's just, it's very, very unique. So I tell my story in the hope that people will connect with their own story. Not necessarily will they connect with my story, but I hope that they will stop and think, oh, if that's her story, well, what's my story and what do I smell and what do I connect with?
No, I think the authenticity, and I'm so glad that you shared your story because it actually makes sense now. You
Yeah.
know, it
Yeah.
makes sense and
Yeah.
it enables people to connect with you because it's really important. They say you buy into the individual, the person, the behind it all.
Yeah.
And once you bought into that, then you believe it, don't you? And then you smell the fragrance and then you can smell what you've said. And then it connects with you. And then it's individual to that person because every fragrance smells different on every skin, doesn't it? Everyone
Totally.
is different. So you've got
Totally.
this something that is a unique story to you that you're creating a story for them, which is unique for them. It's just,
Yeah.
it's quite
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. It's great. I love it.
Oh, wow. No, it's what you've done is phenomenal. And, you know, I'm intrigued to know, I would love to hear what people's stories are based on your story that you've given them and what part of their life they can remember number one for or number two for, you
Yeah.
know, and
And
they're
that's,
sharing that.
yeah, that is exactly something that we're actually looking at the moment, is giving people a platform to share their story with us and
Love that.
what has
Love
the
it.
fragrance done to that for them, or has
Yeah.
it, you know, has it reminded them of somebody special and close to them that they could send that as a gift and be able to, you know, write that little bit of a story, you know. For example, if I wanted to send it to my sister, I could write a note and say, oh, do you know, this fragrance reminds me of you as a child. And it's just something
Like
that
that.
people will really connect with differently. And I just really think we come from a generation where we follow the celeb status and we follow the people in life that and people want their lives and their lifestyle, somebody else's lifestyle. They don't really necessarily looking at their own life and their own lifestyle. And I really just want people to focus on themselves for a little while and just give them permission to be able to do that.
I love that because you're completely correct. A lot of people, you know, in this season, we've all been under the same umbrella, different places, different parts of the world, but we've all felt vulnerable. We've all wondered what's going to happen. We've all had to be introvert and think about ourselves, whatever our status is, because we're not
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
And people have always often looked and said, oh, the lifestyle of that person. And no one really actually knows what's going on behind the scenes because we're very good at showing the best.
Absolutely.
But I always say everybody's special. I have this thing at the moment called superpower. Everyone's got a superpower in them that they need to find.
Yeah.
And they need to feel and believe it and not think, oh, because the person that's on the TV or celebrity. You're actually all special. Every single one of us are.
Absolutely.
And you know, you're enabling that in somebody to share that feeling and make them feel special, which is really important in a fragrance.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree. I do.
And what does sustainability, obviously you're picking the notes, how does that look in your business? And I know I can see you speak about hope, you speak about togetherness, so I know that would be at the forefront of your business. But what does that look like for you?
So it is very important to me, and I think especially because of my children and my 4 kids, and I want to create, it's important to them, and it's important that we do something really special and important for them and for, you know, children that come after them. And you know, so right from the outset of the brand, it was important that we put that at the forefront. And so for our boxes, we do not put plastic on them. We don't put plastic on our labels either. I've made a complete promise to the brand that I will continue to look at the plastic that we use or anything else that we use that isn't good for the environment. And we have already, as we replenish our stock, we've already started to look at different aspects where we can do things better. But we have started off small, and we will continue to look at this. But one of the things that was important to me from the beginning was the refillable bottles. So all our fragrances are refillable. At the moment, we can't go in store to refill them because I'm such a small brand, and it's going to take a while for us to build to that. But what we want to do is actually take, what you can do is keep your 100 ml at home, the larger bottle. And that's obviously usually in most brands, that's the better price point to buy, to go for the larger bottle. And what you can do is with a pipette, keep refilling your smaller bottles so that you can pop it in your handbag or pop it in to go on a flight when we're allowed to fly again. But
yeah, I know.
I know. But yeah, so we have the refillable bottles are really important to me, so that it will have that longer relationship that people can have with the brand, and they can just keep refilling into the smaller bottles, and they never have to actually buy those bottles again. They can just keep refilling them.
That's so nice. It enables the story then, doesn't it? It enables you to have that bottle, because there's nothing worse than having a perfume and you've got to dispose of the bottle, because that perfume created a journey in your life, whatever that may be. But at least they can continue and look at it, and there's, you know, it becomes like aged in the right way. Your bottle gets a bit dented or whatever. That all adds to the experience, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's amazing. And I know, obviously I know what eau de parfum, but why is it that you obviously, because it's called perfume anyway, you've got the eau de toilette. What's the differences? Some people don't actually understand that. I know the strength maybe, but why? Why did you choose to stay on that direction only, obviously?
So there is the different strengths. You're correct. So we have the cologne, we have the eau de toilette, and then we have the eau de parfum, and then we've got the parfum, which is the purest. So for me, it was very important that I created something that the notes were sourced from excellent sources, that we use the right notes, and that we can actually source every note back to a country that we got it from. It was important that it actually lasted on your skin. So I have so many people saying to me, oh, fragrance doesn't last on my skin. And that can be down to quite a few different things. It can be down to our moisture in our skin. It can be down to the pH level. It can be, and then it can be down to the strength of your fragrance. So with a cologne and an eau de toilette, you have to keep respraying. And you know, so every couple of hours you would have to keep touching up your fragrance. With an eau de parfum, if it is done in the right balance, you should have that from anything from 4 to 8 hours, and even more. So it also depends on the notes that you put in there. So number 2 would have the heavier, more oriental type base notes. So we've had people say to us, oh my goodness, I can smell that 12 hours later. You know, I get up the next day and I can still smell it off my skin. So it is a really, you know, so it's down to that. It's down to the different balances. You know, I always say to people to look at the strengths. But it also, again, it's down to that moisture in your skin, which is one of the reasons why I created the hand and body lotions and washes also, because it gives you that layer that you can layer it up. So the lotions are really important to me because we created them with a chemist, and we created them in a way that they were going to transform your skin and that they weren't just going to be a base moisturizer. So when you wear it, it will actually, we've had awards for the lotion, and we've had the results that we've had from people testing it is that it's actually transforming their skin, and it just has the slightest little touch of perfume. And it's enough of the perfume in it that your body will still have a lovely smell of it, a little scent coming from it, but it's not too overpowering either. So it's you can use the lotions to make your fragrance last longer, but you can also use it to layer up the fragrances. So you could put 2 different fragrances on, and it just gives that little bit of a difference of smell.
I like them. Yeah, you're right. When I think of like when I wear your fragrance in particular, or where it's nice when you do the layering where you've got the cream that goes with it. So it's almost like the last piece is the perfume that you just add to it just to enhance. So it can have long durability.
Yeah.
And how do you like, obviously, I know your products, sustainability and what they're made of. When it comes to allergies, some people, sadly, they have problems with perfumes. What do you recommend that they do before they purchase a perfume, your perfume, or in general? Because I always wonder how do you get around that, you know? It's not our fault, but it
so what
happens,
I would suggest is, and I always tell people, is try it at home. Always try. And I know we can't get into stores at the moment. So one of the things we have done on our website is we do a sampling promotion. So what you do is you get your sample at home, and it's completely redeemable towards a larger bottle, but you need to wear the fragrance at home. Now, I'm fairly confident that what you put in and what we have in there will not cause an allergy, but there are people that are sensitive to different types of substances that go into any fragrance. So, but I would always say, you know, I know these little paper, you always get these in the stores, and I always try to tell people, don't spray it on this because it is paper and your skin doesn't smell of paper. So I always suggest, if you're trying it in store, to put it on the inside of your wrist or the inside of your arm, and go away for a few hours and let it settle on your skin. And that way it will give you a really good idea of what it's going to smell like on your skin, but it also will give it that time to check if you have any reaction to it. And I mean, I have my own kids would wear the lotions. I've put it on their skins at times, and it actually it doesn't harm their skin whatsoever because there's only a small little bit of fragrance in it. But I would suggest anybody would need to test it on their skin if they're used to having allergies. But a good way is try and get a sample and take it home with you and wear it for a couple of days and see how it reacts on your skin.
Yeah, no, that's totally. I mean, some people sadly do, but I think a lot of products now, they're so, you know, sensitive in that sense where they're not got heavy products in them anymore. So, and I know your products are like that. So I think it's always some people who have naturally have problems with like allergies and things, they're going to be a bit more cautious, aren't they? But most of the perfumes nowadays, they're much more resilient to sensitive skin and things like that. So yeah.
And they do go through allergy testings also. So all the fragrances are all checked, toxicology reports. There's allergen labels on them, so people can check the boxes, and they legally have to be on them. So if they know there is an allergy they have, it's good for them to check that. But one thing about our lotions and washes is we actually made sure that we created them with SLS free. So and a lot of people would have allergies to SLS, which is the soap. And we actually don't use that. So we use, for the washes, we use the coconut foaming oils. So it's really good and nourishing for your skin, but it really, really foams up beautifully still. And also we don't put any parabens in either. So we do try to...
People don't realize ingredients and things like that are things to look for, because, you know, over time, brands like yourself are aware of that. You're creating products that are free of those things, but some people don't realize what to look for and what to expect in a product. But as I said, as time is going on, sustainability, packaging, there's so many things that amazing brands like yourself are doing to make things better for the consumer. You know?
Yeah.
And another thing, like through an experience, through your journey, you said, I'm going to create this brand. But I know having any brand is never easy.
No.
So to make that decision and then move to manufacturing, what was that like? You know, what was the good and the bad, if there's any? Just people who might, right now in this season, people are thinking about their purpose, their passion. They might even start a business. Some people have actually started businesses. But you as an amazing business owner, what things can you recommend to help to give them an insight into that journey, possibly?
Yeah, so for one, I think you definitely have to have a passion. You have to have the passion to do it. You have to have the passion to go. And I certainly have that. And even though the brand's is only 2 years, in October past,
congratulations.
Thank you. It's been 5 years in the making. So it's been behind the scenes. It has been a lot of hard work. I didn't, as I said, I was a stay-at-home mum. I had no experience in production, in manufacturing, in anything. And I took myself to shows. I learned at every possibility that I could. I would say I'm probably the more artistic side of the brand, but I've had to learn the business side also. And I think really getting good people on your side who have worked in the industry. And I was really lucky to have some wonderful women around me right from the beginning that I met, and I took the decision to invest in, to work with me at the very outset. They helped me. They've worked in beauty for many years, and they were able to advise me and guide me and introduce me to people. They were able to tell me when my ideas were not right, and so I would say for my first year I worked with these lovely girls, and they are based in London, and they were consultants, but that was the best thing that I did, and it was the best decision because I didn't know. And I think if I hadn't made that very clear, if I had thought that I could go and do it on my own, I think I wouldn't have probably succeeded today. But you definitely need to lift the right people up a lot with you along the way. And I started on my own, and my office is still here in my home, but I started in a small office, and we've moved into an outside office. I have a couple of girls work with me now and full time, and I still have other girls I work with on a consultant level. But yeah, I just think do it. If you have a passion and you really believe in your product, you will succeed. And I always say to people, never take rejection, because it just teaches you. When doors shut, there'll be another one open. And I am a really true believer that the right doors will open and the wrong doors will shut. And I really have that strong belief. So I just, if we have a door that is shut on us, I'm happy to keep on pushing another door. And I just think really be true and honest, and you will succeed. And ask for help when you need it.
Yeah. No, I think you gave some amazing advice. I think a lot of people think, they say Rome wasn't built in a day. We want to achieve it before we've even started. We want to take our time, and it's a lot of work, a lot of grafting that goes on behind businesses. I think people see the end product, your beautiful packaging, your beautiful perfume, but all the working over sleepless nights and trying to make sure, and all the production of products and timing of it and getting it right to precision to release. It's a big process.
And also be a full-time mum at the same time, because I remember getting up in the morning. I remember, and I still do it, but obviously not so much traveling at the moment, but getting up at 4 a.m. to get the early flight and kissing my youngest two goodbye, crying at the door at 4 a.m. and then coming back late on the last flight home. So even that in itself, you're exhausted, you're tired, but you still wouldn't change it because you really believe in what you do.
I love that. And you're a mother, you're a wife. I mean, there's a lot of hats, and you still got to turn up.
I know.
The meeting, you've got to turn up, and with all the things that we go through as women, and I'm not discounting men, but we do tend to go for a little bit more. You've still got to keep smiling, even when things are a little bit tough around you.
Absolutely.
So that says so much about you as a lady. It's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, you're very welcome. And I don't think people say enough to each other. I think, you're in the business and it's doing well and people are buying online, but you need to remember, where you started and where you are now. It took a lot of work, and congratulate yourself and say, I did it, and I'm still doing it in this season. I can't forget of people, sadly, that things have gone really badly in this season because it's just unfortunate.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
you've managed to sustain yourself, and that's amazing. That's an amazing achievement. It really
And
is.
you know, I don't think we actually, you're right, we don't actually congratulate ourselves. I think we keep on going and going. And I think sometimes we need to just say, well done in the small times, because you're always waiting for the big break or the big door to open. But actually, when you look at what you started, and it started from nothing, lately I've been saying to some of my team, we need to actually say well done in the small times, in the small things. But yeah, we need to do it a little bit more often.
You do, and as I said, it's hard, and there's a humbleness in that as well, because as you're working, you forget of all the wins that you've had. You know, doors do close, and that's part of the building of character, I call it. And sometimes it's good because some doors need to close as well.
Yes.
So they say thank God for closed doors.
Yes.
But we're so busy, and you look back. I mean, we are now in November, and all the things I know you've done from the beginning of the year all the way to this point, it's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
And dealing with what's happening, climate and unprecedented time. So you forget to say, well done, Tonya.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Let's get the bands out and some flowers and all of that stuff. Because we forget that. We will forget that, you know. So,
we do.
No, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And how did it feel, like your first sale or your first pitch that you went to a shop and they said, yeah, we'll have it? How did that feel? Because I know the work that goes to pitching to get anywhere and get it placed.
It's quite funny though, because I'm the sort of person where I'm happy, but I always have felt that we are partnering with some amazing stores. So we're in Harvey Nichols, and we're in Fortnum and Mason, and we're in Fenwick, and we've got some beautiful boutiques. So it is amazing. And we actually launched with Harvey Nichols in Dublin and Manchester before we even hit a year old. So we were really young. And I suppose it was happening so fast that I never give myself time to celebrate and congratulate myself, because you just really want to keep making it work, and you want to pursue it, and you want people to hear, and and I was still learning about the brand and how do you do the business side of things, and how do you even employ somebody, or, you know, it's all that. It's also, but so it's been amazing that actually we have those partnerships. But I've always wanted to be direct to consumer. I've always wanted to be the person talking to my customer. I've always wanted to be the person that is meeting somebody on the shop floor. And it's, you know, we can't do that. You know, obviously I can't split myself like that. But, you know, I remember walking into Harvey Nichols and seeing it there, and it was, all I could see was, oh, that needs changed, and that needs changed, and I need to fix that. So I don't think I actually went, yes, I've made it. I actually am just going, hanging on and hoping that I'll remain there. But we have just actually got word that we're moving out across Europe, which is amazing, and we're launching into Israel and Hong Kong, and we're launching into mainland Europe. So that's all going on in the background. But I still want to be the person who's talking to my customer, and I still want to be the person. So I am always looking at things, and I probably haven't celebrated very much at what we've succeeded. But I think I've got that mindset where do I need to improve, or what can I do better, or what are, you know, we've new fragrances coming out, and we've also candles coming out as well. So
really?
Yeah, amazing. In our first two fragrances. So
I'm so excited for you. I love candles. I'm a candle freak. I can't get enough of them. In this season, they've been so soothing, you know.
I know, and I'm very particular about how it burns, and, you know, make sure the scent smells right the way, you know, right to the end. So it's important to me that we get this right. So I'm always looking ahead, and I'm always thinking, you know, so it is amazing when I see it on websites, and it's amazing more so, I think what really gets me, and I get really thankful, is when I actually hear people's stories about wearing them, and when people when I hear people saying, oh, I love that brand, or I know that brand, that to me gets me really excited. But
I think you need to, I'm sure everyone would agree, I've seen loads of hearts popping up. you do need to congratulate yourself. It's phenomenal what you've achieved. 2 years. You got
I
to
know.
remember, I understand the brands and think of me as an artist and how much work goes on behind the scenes. And for you to have all those opportunities in that space of time it tells you that the authenticity that you've created, that uniqueness, that realism is connected with people. So
Yeah.
you've done
Yeah.
your job.
Oh,
That was the core of it.
yes.
It was, wasn't it? The core of it was you sharing your journey, your story through scent.
Yeah.
And did you know that now across the world, people are going to experience that for their own story? And that's powerful.
Absolutely. And I think that is, as you say, is all I've ever wanted. I just see it as a gift. I want to give to people. I want people to tell me what it means to them or what they think of it. And that is the most important to me. And that's what I get very excited about.
No, you're amazing. Congratulations. It's a beautiful
Thank
brand.
you.
And you know, yes, I've got Tonya on here, and but I'm being honest. I've smelt it when I opened the box. The box is beautiful as well. You know what's really exciting about when you receive a perfume or anything of that nature is the packaging, the whole experience. When you open the box, when you open it up and you spray it, it's almost like a little, it's an experience, isn't it? And when I had that experience with your perfume, it made sense. Now I've met you, spoke to you, I'm like, okay, I went through that process.
Yeah.
You know,
And
the bottle,
it's one of the reasons why I wrote my story inside the box of the lid, because I wanted people just to connect that when it opened. But also the reason that I did that whole pared back look and we have it very plain is because we want the perfumes to speak for themselves. And I think we can get wrapped up with the box and the bottle, but I want it still to have that experience. I think, isn't it, people talk about the apple box experience where they get that lovely, they open the apple box and you get that gorgeous suction. It is an experience, and I get very excited about wrapping and boxes. So we wanted it to be really classical and something that you could keep reusing. And you can with the boxes because they're rigid boxes, and you can, I store makeup and everything in mine. So no, it is good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You had a good experience opening them.
I did. It was really lovely. And as I said, I think in this year, we all need cheering up. I think I hope everything goes a little bit back to normal for Christmas. I think we all want to get together as families. I think we've been apart for long enough. And the whole sharing and gifting is so important for us right now. And I think your company Stories is going to be a beautiful gift to receive over Christmas. You know, that opportunity. And you know, I always remember when you are with your family, you all opening your gifts up together and you're smelling each other's perfumes and you know, oh, I want that actually.
I know.
or when you're shopping, you're actually saying don't shop too much for yourself because I'm guilty.
I know.
Like actually you've got a budget for other people. Let's not do yourself too much.
I do the same. Do the same. I always feel I give myself permission to buy something for myself when I'm buying for others.
It's true. Why not? It's all part of the experience because all those bags and things, it's all part of it, isn't it? And then the wrapping of the gift. And, you know, I really hope for the next few weeks we get to experience that. I feel that we will. I feel very positive about it.
Yeah.
And I love your brand. I'm thanking you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
It's
and
been lovely.
You mentioned all the places. Lovely meeting you too, Tonya. All the places we can. It's everywhere, your brand, but where would you present them or where would you say to go? Because I know people listening will have a look and read the story and go through the experience.
You can come straight onto our website, which is www.storiesparfums.com. And then you can also go in, like we're in pretty much every major city at the moment. So we're in Manchester, in Newcastle, in London, in Canterbury, in Tunbridge Wells, and Dublin.
That's amazing.
And we're in Northern Ireland also. We've got some lovely stockists here also. So definitely, if you can't get to a stockist at the moment, you know, depending on whether they open or not, Harvey Nichols do it online, Fenwick do it online, and also obviously our own online. So, and all you have to do is send us a message. We have a live chat on our website. And one of the girls will get back to you and we'll help you choose the fragrances and the body care as well.
Oh, it's amazing. And the whole experience. And thank you, Tonya and team. I've got a giveaway, guys, as well. We're very, very lucky to have this for pre-Christmas. And they're giving away 2 duo, isn't it? A
It is
duo,
the number one and
number
number
two
two.
parfum.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering what to get, maybe do the giveaway, like,
Absolutely.
comment, tell all your besties, and you get to experience that as well. So these ladies have been amazing to us, and thank you so much, Tonya, for
Thank
coming
you.
today.
It's been lovely
And I
meeting you.
can't wait. When you come to London, definitely, hopefully all opens up. We need to have a drink or two. That'd be
Absolutely.
lovely to
We
catch
will
up
meet for a
again.
drink, and you
All right.
take care, and family take care, and I'll speak to
Thank
you
you.
soon. Take care.
Definitely. God bless you. All the
Bye
best. Bye, Tonya.
bye. Bye
All the
bye.
best. Thank you for everyone joining. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everybody.